Our next guest is the owner of the real estate inspection company. Please welcome back to the show, Philippe Heller.
There he is. Philippe Heller's in the house again. What's up, brother?
I'm doing great.
Back with some props.
Yes.
Back to educate us more about what you do, the real estate inspection company. Now, you guys, obviously you see a lot. This is something that has just recently come up where smoke alarms, carbon monoxide detection, the rules have changed, right? The laws have changed.
Yep, there are some new laws and things that we all have to comply with, not even just when you're selling a house, but things that we should all do if we own a house, whether we live in it or if we're a landlord. So we could talk about some of those, but there are some things that we find as the home inspector, we're always the bearer of bad news, so to speak. A lot of agents look at us as the enemy. And I'm here to educate those agents so that they know these things going in, kind of like the pre-listing inspections we talked about. So if they know these things, they're not going to be a surprise.
Right, and when it comes to, when you're doing an inspection on a property, that's typically, a property that's being sold to somebody, if they are not in compliance with these rules, then you have to tell them about it.
Correct.
So what is it that has changed about the old days? Like, I live in a place that was built in the 70s. I know there's a lot of old smoke detectors in there, probably not any carbon monoxide detectors in there. What are the new rules now?
So back in the 70s is when they first started to require one smoke detector in a home, and it was usually located in the hallway. And the idea is that it would wake you up. A smoke detector is not there to protect the property so much as it is to protect life. So they want you to wake up as early as possible if there's a fire so you can get out. That's why bedrooms have to have a window in case the flame's in the hallway. As time has marched on, the location requirements have increased. So in addition to being in the hallway, they found that, well, if the door is closed, the smoke may be starting in one of the bedrooms and therefore doesn't get out into the common area. So then they said, well, we need to put smoke detectors in the bedrooms. However, it wasn't ever retroactive. Only new construction was required to do that. Now, since last year, July 1st of 2015, all houses are required to have smoke detectors in all bedrooms and on each level.
Okay.
Yeah.
So every bedroom has to have a smoke detector.
Yes.
I can tell. I don't think I'm in compliance with that.
Yeah. And this isn't just for houses that are being sold. We're all supposed to do this. And in addition, since a smoke detector only lasts 10 years, that's their lifespan. So yours from the 70s, you could light a newspaper, a Sunday Times underneath it, and it probably won't sound. The sensors go bad, and they just won't detect the smoke. Now, when you go to buy a smoke detector, you'll see that it will say 10-year alarm life. No more buying 9-volt batteries. Those days are gone. You buy a unit with a sealed battery that's good for 10 years. When it goes out, you throw the whole unit away or recycle it. You don't want to throw it in the trash, and you replace it. And there are so many that we see in the course of doing home inspections where smoke detectors don't have batteries in them. They're dead, they're open, someone intended to buy them and they never buy them. And every time we hear a report on the news, the people who were injured in a fire didn't have functioning smoke detectors. So they're trying to solve that problem with this 10-year battery life.
Okay, that is a lot simpler too, let's be honest. I mean, because changing that battery is always a pain in the butt.
Always. They're up high.
They're up high, you got a ladder, and you got to find a battery. Oh, I need to turn it off, and so you unplug it.
Yeah.
Then you forget about it.
Yeah.
It's not beeping at you anymore. Yeah. So that's an issue. Now, so you have to have these smoke detectors in every bedroom and on every level of the home.
Yes.
What about the carbon monoxide?
New law 2, which is not, this is required when you're selling a house, and this is incumbent on the seller. You have to provide these things, kind of like strapping on the water heater. You have to have the straps on the water heater. You also have to have carbon monoxide detectors, and you have to have at least one on each level of the home, preferably near the sleeping areas, again, to wake you up if there is carbon monoxide, because that's when you're most susceptible to being poisoned. So if you have a one-level house where bedrooms are distributed quite far apart, you should have a smoke detector, a CO detector on each side of the house.
Okay. And what's the GFCI requirements?
GFCIs, those are the receptacles that you might see in your bathroom or along your kitchen cabinetry in newer homes. Older homes, when they first came out with ground fault circuit interrupters, they were a breaker inside the panel. My house is built in '86, and that's how mine is. I have to go outside if there's no power in the bathroom, and my wife, I can't turn something on. I have to go outside and reset it. Now it's more convenient. It's the receptacles with the little test and reset button.
Okay.
Believe it or not, that's not retroactive, and this causes a lot of arguments during the purchase of a house where we would note it as a safety upgrade, but it's not required that the seller install them. So if you were going to buy a house built in the 70s and the GFCIs were not required in the bathrooms or in the kitchen, the seller isn't required to put them in. We would recommend that you do it for your own safety, and they're pretty easy to install. Now, if you've done any remodeling, you are required to upgrade that. So if we see a house that has brand new kitchen, they've clearly spent more than $1,000 on the upgrade, and there are no GFCI protected receptacles, then it is incumbent on the seller to upgrade it.
So what is the GFCI receptacles? How does that help make you safer?
Sure, I'm glad you asked. Without going too deep into it, it stands for ground fault circuit interrupter, and it is there to detect a path of current that is going from the electric circuit to a ground, and typically everything in the house is grounded through the plumbing system. So if you're in the kitchen and you're plugging in a toaster, and for some reason you happen to be touching the metal sink or the faucet, some electricity, if it's a bad cord or something, could travel through you to the ground, and that receptacle will shut off immediately, protecting you from electrocution. Circuit breakers do not protect you from electrocution. They're there to protect the wires in the house from overheating and starting a fire. But you can still get electrocuted on a common circuit.
Wow.
GFCIs are there to protect you from getting electrocuted.
Wow.
So that's why they're
Did
important.
not know that. I thought it was just for convenience.
No. No.
So you don't have to go to the breaker, but it's not something totally different.
It is totally different. It is not fire prevention, it's electrocution prevention.
Very cool. So everyone should really have those.
You should. You should consider upgrading if you're in an older home. Probably your receptacles are a little loose anyway at this point. The little springs in there wear out, and it's a good idea to upgrade your receptacles periodically. And near wet areas and in the garage, anywhere where there's a fixture, you should upgrade those circuits to GFCI protected circuits.
Awesome. Great stuff. You brought some other cool toys in here today too, didn't you?
I do. I wanted to talk about some of the neat technical upgrades. There are some products out there now, including this one. It's by a company called Nest. It is a combo carbon monoxide and smoke detector. You said your smoke detector is probably 40 years old. This might be a good option for you because it kills two birds with one stone. It detects carbon monoxide and detects smoke. So it would alert you if there are either of those conditions. They have them very inexpensive that you could buy at Home Depot or wherever. This one's a little bit more expensive, but it's also really cool. It connects to your Wi-Fi system. And what that does is you can combine it with this company's thermostat. And since a lot of carbon monoxide is typically generated by a furnace, if the detector detects carbon monoxide, it will communicate with the thermostat and shut off the furnace for you.
Wow.
Helping to reduce the risk.
Smart homes.
Pretty cool stuff that's
Homes
out there.
of the future. I, just on that topic, I mean, how many smart homes are you seeing out there in the inspection world where people have dialed in a lot of these technologies?
Yep.
And is it working? Are they having issues? Because you have to test all that stuff, right?
We do. The biggest improvement we see are new thermostats, and that's simply because people are getting new furnaces, new ACs. They're trying to be as efficient as possible, and thermostats like this are kind of state of the art. You can, driving home, if it's a hot day, you can turn on your AC from your smartphone. And so we are seeing, that's probably the single biggest smart accessory that we see in a home now. We're starting to see more of the smart detectors, alarm systems, security cameras, and whatnot that are considered, smart, which means that they're interconnected. You can operate them. Door locks, deadbolts. If you have a delivery or a cleaning person, you can let them in via your smartphone when you're at work.
It's awesome.
And monitor that. So we are starting to see these new products out there.
Okay, great stuff. Well, if you didn't know, now you know what the requirements are. Philippe Heller, thank you so much for coming in today.
Anytime.
Really appreciate your time. And stick around for more Smarter San Diego TV, where we guarantee to make you smarter than everyone else, commercial free.